XCOM with the aliens swapped out for African contract wars. That is the pitch. That is also the loudest criticism. And I still think Warhounds is worth about $30 to the right buyer. My position going in, this thing is derivative on purpose. And it changed exactly one mechanic that matters more than everything it copied. It launched on August 11th from Everplay DMCC, published by Brightica, and it is sitting at 270 Steam recommendations with a discourse that is genuinely split down the middle. Some of that split is fair, some of it is people grading a 15-person studio against Firaxis money. I want to separate those two things, because the answer changes whether you should buy this today or in 6 months. Turn-based tactics, squad of mercenaries, alternate future Africa, and a campaign built around corporate wars with morally gray objectives. You are not saving the planet from an invasion. You are taking contracts, and the contracts have sides, and the sides are all some flavor of awful. I like that framing more than I expected to, because it means the strategic layer has actual teeth instead of a doom clock. Between missions, you recruit fighters, upgrade your base, and shape your roster. Character customization is a listed tag, and it is not cosmetic filler. Every squad member carries unique abilities, so the composition you build is the composition you are stuck living with when a contract goes sideways. That is the part that hooks me in this genre. A stock squad is a stock squad, but when the specialists you waited 3 missions ago decide whether you can hold a rooftop, the floor starts feeling like yours. That is where I start caring about a campaign at all. Genre-wise, it lists as action, RPG, and strategy, which is Steam being generous. But the RPG label is doing real work here. There is a progression spine, there are skill chains, and the story-rich tag is technically accurate even if the writing itself is a problem I will get to. 37 achievements, 3 pieces of DLC already available on day 1, full controller support, and adjustable difficulty. That last one matters more than it sounds, and I will come back to it. 10 minutes of this game looks like the following. You drop into a map. The camera is top-down isometric and easy to swing around, and the UI tells you your hit information without you digging for it. Tactical readability is honestly one of the best things here. You always know what your cover is worth, because it uses the same shield indicators you already have burned into your brain, and grid movement follows the same logic you already know. Then you spend action points. Move, shoot, reload, throw. It is a clear action point system, not the move then act binary, so a turn is a small budget you are constantly shaving. Cover is the whole game, not a modifier, the actual center of gravity. Destructible, positional, and the thing every single decision routes through. Here is where it gets specific. The machine gunner can eat a burst through wooden crates, live on 1 hit point, and then burn an entire turn just reloading. That is not a bug, that is the weight system working. A heavy weapon buys you suppression-shaped power and charges you tempo for it. I love that trade, and yes, this is a 2006 game where enemy positions still have bright red, explosive barrels parked next to their cover, which is either lazy or affectionate depending on your mood. Mine was affectionate. Enemy variety is real, with different attack patterns per type, and environments change enough that you are not fighting the same warehouse 8 times. Missions cap your deployment at 4 operators, which is the single most divisive design call in the game and the reason some people bounce hard. Time to filter, because this is not a game for everyone, and pretending otherwise wastes your money. You should get this if you want deliberate turn-based tactics where the weight of the decision is the entire appeal, and you are fine spending more time planning a breach than executing it. You should get this if you specifically want XCOM-shaped combat in a modern military setting without the alien layer, because that itch is real and almost nothing scratches it. And you should get this if a 4-person roster limit reads to you as design pressure rather than as a budget cut, because that constraint is the whole tuning philosophy. Skip this if your appetite runs toward reflex play and momentum. The pace here is slow and the fights are long. Skip this if you need day. 1 technical stability, because I will be blunt in the next section about what is broken. Skip this if you came for writing, because the dialogue, the character design, and the story presentation are the weakest part of the package by a wide margin, and no patch is rewriting that. And skip this if you want the Jagged Alliance tactical vocabulary specifically, meaning suppressive, fire, and shock states, because those are absent, and the absence is felt. If you are in that 3rd skip category, you just saved yourself $30 and a refund window. That is the honest read. Real quick, if this breakdown is saving you a bad purchase, a like genuinely helps the channel. Now, the mechanic that made me stop treating this as a reskin. Overwatch in this game is not a 360-degree threat bubble. It is a tight cone. You point it, you commit to an angle, and everything outside that arc walks past your ambush untouched. That one change rewires the layered part of the combat completely. In the game, everybody is comparing this to Overwatch is a safety net you throw down when you run out of ideas. Here it is a declaration. Setting a cone means predicting the flank, and predicting wrong means your sniper spends a turn staring at a wall while two contacts come through the door you did not cover. Suddenly, angles have ownership, and holding a corridor takes coordinated cones instead of one lazy panic button. That is what I want out of a tactical game. The strategic layer punishing bad thinking with consequences that cascade forward, not a bad roll punishing you at random, which connects to the ballistics claim on the store page. Less fake percentage theater, more actual line of fire, cover, and elevation deciding whether the round lands. When physics detail actually changes what I do in the moment, the sim label is earned. When it is cosmetic dressing on a hit point pool, the label is a lie. This one lands closer to earned than not. It is not flawless. A lot of firefights still collapse into bullet trading and grenade spam against enemies that soak too much, and without suppression there is no tool to break that stalemate other than more bullets. That is the fair version of the criticism. The unfair version is calling the whole thing a reskin, while ignoring the cone. Now the part that decides your timing. Stability is rough, mission blocking lockups, crashes deep enough to take a whole session with them, and results screens garbling out and eating rewards. A 1-point nettle tag on the store page does not currently describe a 1-point nettle build, and I am not going to soften that because the tactics underneath are good. The writing is the other wound. The dialogue is bad in a way that goes past charming jank. Generic squad members recycle roughly one line each, and the plot is hard to follow even when you are trying. Voice acting reception is genuinely split. Some think it is fine, and some think it is the worst part, but nobody is calling it a strength. Optimization also needs work, and there is no cockpit fatigue here in the sense of overloaded systems, which I appreciate, but there is fatigue from missions running long past the point where the tactical puzzle is solved. That is my honest personal limit with this genre. I want the pressure of a 20 to 30 minute engagement, and this pushes past that regularly. Combat systems, sharp. Overwatch cone, the best idea in the game. Squad customization, better than it needed to be. Writing, actively bad. Stability, not shipped. Late campaign. I am not going to pretend I know how it lands, because I get my value out of the mid-campaign arc where the roster decisions are still tightening, and that is where I would tell you the money is here too. So the call is buy, conditionally, and the prize is doing heavy lifting in that verdict. At around $30, with the tactical layer this specific and the adjustable difficulty giving you a way to tune the bullet sponge problem down, Warhounds earns the purchase for people who want military turn-based tactics and nothing else. If one crashes are a deal breaker for you, wait 60 days and buy the patched version cheaper. That is a wait, not a skip. Here is my line in the sand. Calling this a reskin is lazy criticism. And anybody making that argument has not sat down with the Overwatch cone long enough to notice it changed how you hold a room. So, XCOM veterans, fight me in the comments. Does this earn the comparison? Or is one clever mechanic not enough to escape the shadow? Subscribe if you are tired of reviewers who will not take a side. That is the honest read. The buy button is still yours.